Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer, your market analyst for Path of Exile 2 here. I have an interesting idea to pitch to you. It's of course up to you whether you want to do it. It's just me sharing my own personal opinion as well. Now, right now in the game, looking at the overall landscape, belts are kind of in an awkward place. One, the only thing unique that they do right now is improve flask recovery, increase the amount of flask recovery and stuff like that, or use less charm charges, or even give like more charm slots. But right now, charms aren't really like the best in the game. They aren't like super critical. Some people will argue that you don't even need the additional 2 slots right now. So taking away a lot of the utility for a lot of these normal, non-unique belts in the game. So other than that, the only thing possibly like really good right now about belts that you cannot find anywhere else is the charm slot. Of course, we talk about is still possible to find in other places. It's really the flask recovery modifiers like applied instantly and high healing, which utility belt is really quite solid for. If you are looking for charm slot, even your amulet can also get this. If you go down to this node over here, you can anoint your amulet to give you Hunter's Talisman, which gives you an additional charm slot already. So you don't even have to even get the charm slot, additional charm slot in the substats over here if you wanted to. There aren't really like too many other ones. Maybe like Golden Charm is like the best, but I digress. Long story short, not too many good belts, which is why I think a really solid option and the idea that I have for this video, the S tier one that I think is worth getting for most people, is Ingenuity utility belt. You keep a lot of the benefits from the utility belt, which is the flask recovery applied instantly, and on top of that, there's of course a range, 40 to 80%. You gain bonuses from your equipped rings. If you have a 50% roll, which is on the low end already, your 2 rings becomes a 3rd ring, basically giving you a free additional item slot to carry. That is really quite OP, and the fact that it can be used on any single character, every character uses rings, and it can be applied across the board, I think is incredibly solid because that multiplies on your rings, which have a lot better stats as well. So what do I mean by that? Let me just show you the act of just slapping it on. Right now, if I take off my amulet over here, because I don't want to modify the damage numbers with my spirit and stuff of swapping in and out. But if I show you lightning arrow, 57k right now damage, if we take that as a gauge, if I slap on a normal utility belt here, I have no change to my damage numbers because you can't really find too many stats that give you a bit of damage in the belt slot. Unless, of course, you get a nice corruption and stuff like that, which gives you certain stats or whatever not. But if I slap on my utility belt, now look at this 57 here, in the belt slot, now it becomes 62k, which is almost a 10% increase on my stats alone from the belt slot, helping me increase my damage further. On top of that, I get even more stats because if I take this off, for example, if you notice my lightning rest here, 120, and all my other resistances, of course, my cold rest currently is like not capped off. If I slap on my belt here, my lightning rest now goes over to 200+%, and my cold rest is like at 72% right now, just from the multipliers from utility belt. This doesn't even care about the fact that breach and stuff like that, and I'll show you like market trends in a little bit and what am I looking out for exactly. Don't just pick the first one you see. There is a more smarter way of doing things. I'll share with you in a little bit. But putting this back, for example, it really increases the damage by an insane amount. So now it's like 75k if I take it off, 69k. So it's a tremendous increase overall as well. Because your rings have a lot better stats. You can get main stat resistances, which are much cheaper than trying to find like a 23% chaos resistant belt, for example, which might be a bit more expensive in the market right now compared to rings. Rings also give you damage. For example, you can see here, I have nice damage lines. I have resistance lines. I have like 50% a rarity increase, which is also really very strong. Gain mana, evasion, life, whatever not. It has a lot more than what belts have to offer. You kind of like get a 3rd ring in that sense. At the same time, I can stack both. I can even give myself a lot of INT stats because you can find INT, you can find dex in rings. Belts only give you strength currently, and it's really tremendous because you get a lot more damage out this way. You can even modify your rings with additional quality, which is a huge plus. So you're getting more than just an additional ring, you're getting much better stats as well. So the multiplicative thing is like so much more efficient, and it bumps your damage up crazy amounts, especially if you go towards a more offensive ring approach as well. That is one thing. The next thing, of course, is you can actually, if I had a fire ring here and this 200% was on my fire ring, I could actually slap it and imagine if this was like 200, 300 firing, maybe if I were running double, you actually get a nice perk over here, this bonus right over here, which increases your maximum fire resistance for 40% uncapped fire rest, which can give you a lot of fire resistance beyond 75%. And that is like really, really solid bonus that you can get just by scaling. Breach rings can go even further because you can catalyst them up to plus 50. But enough pitching. Now let's go and see what exactly is the thought process behind it and what belts am I exactly looking for. If you come into the market over here and you search the prices of Ingenuity belt, you will find the cheapest one at 5 Divine. As of time of recording, of course, I don't know whether prices will move, but it's super cheap. Like these guys just sold for 5, 6, no longer available. So it's very, very affordable. But I won't actually go for the low price ones because whenever you're making an investment or if you're planning to like sell it or use on another character, you must think of your exit strategy. When you buy something, you want to be able to sell it off later on to someone else that will be willing to pick it up and you won't lose money. So my recommendation for most of us is looking for a decent amount of bonus gain. If you are on a slightly tighter budget, you can set it to 50% so that you get 1 additional ring at least. And this really gives you like quite nice 7 Divine, 8 Divine. You can get a very respectable one already that gives you 1 additional ring for a lot of the benefits. You can even get nice ones like this, which maybe give you extra stats that you're looking for a couple. You can even get like strength if you're looking for like some more main stats for 50% at a decent price as well. If of course this is a bit expensive for you, we have a lot of other videos on the channel teaching you how to make your divines risk-free, high risk, pick your choice. Check it out on the trading section, all the playlists we have on trading ideas. Pick your fancy, which one is your risk tolerance level. But my recommendation for any of you who are investing, my preferred choice, of course, I only own 1 belt on my account, so I'm not trying to like move the market or anything. I'm too small to move the market and I own too little assets as well. What I actually look for is something about 70% uncorrupted, which is towards the upper end of belts already. Let me show you without corrupted first. Just any belt that's not corrupted. Why this is important is because you can always take the cheapest one and re-roll it with divines at 20 costs. Let's say it's 2021. This is too cheap, right? There's no way this guy is selling. 21 costs, you spend 1 divine, 5% of cost, you get a chance to bump it up even higher. So that's why it maintains its price very well. Even the ones with a shitty line like 48%, which is on the lower end out of all of them. Even for example, you can see like 67 is going for the same price as 48 in this one. It is a bit more expensive. If you can save up, get this one. This is really very solid. I highly recommend it. My personal preference, because I like round numbers and most people might also search for round numbers, taking a clean 70 is likely going to be my optimal choice over here because it ranges from 40 to 80. The maximum roll is 80 on a clean without corruption. So getting a 70 is what people would probably search for. So getting that nice first number 7 is going to help you a lot. And as you can see, the difference between like a 70 as well as a 40 plus is only like 1-2 divine difference. So you might as well get a 70. You don't have to re-roll it with divines at all. For those of you who are curious, if you get a perfect one like 80 clean, it's going to be a lot more expensive because it's like 40 over here. Because if you corrupt it, you might get a 80 clean with additional resistance lines. You might be able to get, for example, like push it beyond 80 and stuff like that. So there's a lot more things that could happen that is positive if it's already max roll. That's why 80 is a lot more expensive. But I think for the sake of if you are reselling, just getting investment, getting a 70 clean is really, really super solid. But this wouldn't be enough. I think what's more important is why do I think that the market trend is going to go upwards? Other for the many fact that any character can use this, the other belts alternatives are kind of shitty in the game right now, and this gives you like so much damage increase. There aren't too many other alternatives. The best, maybe unique alternative right now that is super hype is probably going to be Headhunter, which gives you additional damage when you gain the modifier when you kill a rare monster, which is nice, especially if you're doing breaches. But if you're fighting bosses and stuff like that, this Headhunter doesn't really help you too much. For half the price, I don't think it's as universal. It is still a really good gear, but I don't think it's like investment grade S tier worthy. And another thing, of course, is Ingenuity. You cannot use charm orbs on it. So Headhunter you can, Ingenuity you cannot, which is a really, really huge difference. If you look at the prices over here, we have a sheet and we also talk about it on our channel. I do market updates every time we have an important patch. If like a patch is coming up from GGG, we will talk about price movements in certain items. Ingenuity is part of my tracking list where we track the different items in the game. And it has been on a steady climb, not as much as hype gear, for example, like Astromantis, which when Gambling Legionnaire does really well, it does really well too. Temporalis, which is also a really good gear, which has a much higher quantum investment of like, I think it's like 70 plus divines. Ingenuity is on the lower end for the very, very top tier uniques, and it's steadily climbing. You can see these dots over here slowly going up. One reason for that is because the boss dupe has been patched. You no longer have the ability to create multiple instances, which unfortunately was abused as well, which means your supply is dropping. At the same time, as more and more people can afford these belts and realize how universal it is, you can slap it on any character in the game. Little alternatives. I think this is going to be a steady climb upwards, and I think it's my solid pick of investment for my account, increasing my damage, but maybe being a good investment too. If you found this video helpful, you like such investment ideas, let me know in the comments below. I'll have more out on the channel as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next video.